Sometimes danger doesn't kick down the door. Sometimes it knocks and waits. These are real encounters with strangers who pushed boundaries, ignored fear, and lingered far too long. Nothing supernatural, just people whose intentions felt wrong in every possible way. If you value your instincts, lock your doors, and trust your gut, these stories are for you. I don't live in the best area, but it's close to my kids' school and it's what we can afford. One afternoon, I was stopped at a red light on my way to pick up my older kids. My toddler was in the back seat. While waiting, I felt my passenger side door handle move, like someone was trying to open it. My doors were locked, they always are. I looked over and saw an older woman aggressively pulling on my door. My window was cracked slightly for air. She reached up, trying to pull the window down farther. "Excuse me," she said. "I need you to help me. I need a ride." I told her I could call 911. "No," she snapped. "You need to help me. Let me in." She yanked on the door again, then the window. The light turned green. I told her I couldn't help and drove off. In my rearview mirror, I watched her walk back to the sidewalk, wait for the light to change, then crouch down and creep toward the next car. Weeks later, I was watching the morning news when my stomach dropped. A woman had forced her way into an elderly driver's car, pulled a knife, and made her drive from ATM to ATM, draining her bank account. She assaulted the woman before fleeing. The suspect's face appeared on the screen. It was her. If my doors hadn't been locked, I don't know what would have happened. We teach kids not to get into cars with strangers, but sometimes the more important lesson is not letting strangers into yours. Last year, I lived in a private university residence building near the city. There was a car park off to the side, poorly lit, rarely used. Most students couldn't afford to park there. My car was usually one of only 2 or 3. One evening, after the gym, it was dark and raining. I sat in my car, scrolling on my phone, enjoying the warmth before heading inside. Then someone knocked on my window. A man dressed in black stood outside. He told me his friend had seen me and thought I was attractive. He asked for my number. I said no. He kept pushing, asking me to get out to talk to his friend, who stood at the far end of the car park, away from the building. I stayed in my seat and kept scrolling. Eventually, he walked away. I texted a friend to come walk me inside. While waiting, the man came back, with his hood up. He banged on my window, yelling that I was rude and ungrateful. Then he tried my door handle. When it didn't open, he shoved my car violently. I froze. After a few minutes, he walked away, saying he'd leave me alone, but I watched him rejoin his friend. Then more men emerged from the shadows. 3, 4. They circled my car. They lingered. I was too scared to call the police. I didn't want to make it worse. Then another car arrived, full of loud students heading to a party. The group scattered. I followed the party car inside. Later, my friend told me those same men had followed another girl into the building days earlier, cornered her in an elevator, then stood outside her door whispering for her to open it. After reports and CCTV review, the building finally hired permanent security. I still think about how close that night came to ending differently. I'm a 22-year-old woman, and my husband is 25. Last night, around 11:50 p.m., my husband woke me up to tell me someone had been knocking on our apartment door and ringing the doorbell for nearly 10 minutes, on and off. He wanted me awake so I could help identify the person. I went upstairs and looked out the window toward our parking lot across the street. I saw a man walking back to his car. He looked normal enough. Blue jeans, a gray t-shirt, medium build, maybe around 30, blonde hair. He He wasn't hiding his face or acting frantic, but he was carrying something in his hands, what looked like resistance bands or rope. I called dispatch as he sat in his car for about 3 minutes, engine running. Then he got out and came back to our door, knocking harder than before. Dispatch told me officers were on the way and ended the call. I started recording. I read out the license plate, the make and model. From my window, I watched him sit in his car, shifting between park and reverse over and over again. Then suddenly, he backed out fast, right as a police officer arrived and pulled him over. Not long after, my downstairs neighbor knocked on our door. She was shaking. She told me the man had been peering into her children's windows and pounding on her door too. Her husband had left less than a minute before the knocking started. She believed he saw her children through the window, and that's why he wouldn't leave. Our doors are right next to each other. We still don't know which one he wanted opened. After that, we shut off all the lights, closed the blinds, and waited. The police never contacted us for statements. Days passed, then a week. When I finally heard back from the officer, his explanation made my blood boil. The man had been let go. The officer said there was no way to prove criminal intent. The items in his car, possibly restraints, were just possessions. The man claimed he was there to meet someone from a dating app and was cooperative, so they let him leave. That was it. No follow-up, no warning. Looking back at my video, I realized something else. About a week earlier, while walking my dog at night, I'd noticed the same car driving slowly through the parking lot. It stopped near me and idled while my dog sniffed around. I remember feeling dizzy. My ears rang. Every instinct screamed at me to leave. I went home immediately and locked everything. Now my neighbor and I are installing motion lights, bars in the windows, and checking over our shoulders every time we step outside. I don't know what that man planned to do, but in my heart, I know it wasn't innocent.
None of these stories involve monsters or ghosts, just people who didn't respect boundaries, people who waited for doors to open, people who counted on politeness, hesitation, or silence. If you ever feel like something is wrong, listen to that feeling. And if stories like these keep you aware, help you stay alert, or remind you to trust your instincts, take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It's the best way to support these stories and make sure more people hear them. To the man at the door, the woman at the window, and the man in the car park, let's not meet.